Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
It's your turn.
What's up, everyone?
What?
I got it right.
I'm so mad. I was like,
I'm sure it'll happen again.
I was like, step into my trap. Go on, Jessica. Say hello to everybody.
Fuck it up so I can make fun of you.
What's up, guys? Oh my God. So much has happened.
Oh my gosh, right?
So much has happened. I'm like looking at this shit and we haven't even talked about UFC Paris yet.
Fuck UFC Paris.
It's do we even need to talk yesterday's about it? News.
It really is.
I mean, I think we should talk about the biggest what the fuck moment in MMA right now.
Go for it.
What the fuck is he? Yo, how?
Dude, I gotta be honest though. Like after the second round, I was kind of pulling for Strickland. I was like, you know what? I'm kind of rooting for him right now.
Well, it's hard not to root for the underdog, right? It's hard not to root for him. As he was walking out, they're saying how he's a plus 600 underdog, which already sounds like a setup. Like that.
It's so rude.
As soon as that happens, I get that inkling that the MMA gods are just going to be like, fuck you. Yeah, just because we can. Just because, there hasn't been a Just Bleed guy in the audience for a long time. We haven't been paying homage to the MMA gods. So they're just like, you know what? Fuck all your parlays. I'm going to do what I want.
I feel like that just happened at the last pay-per-view with fucking O'Malley.
Yeah, but
not as bad. But that was a what the fuck moment for me, at least.
It was because we knew how good Aljo is. We knew that his game plans that have worked before could possibly work against O'Malley. And we knew O'Malley had a pretty easy road to the top compared to a lot of other people who got the title shot. But the power was always that thing that I was like, he got hit a little bit in his last fight. He's been injured a lot in his last fights. Like, this could be a thing. This could be a problem. But when this happened yesterday, it just happened yesterday. We haven't even talked about it. So this is all raw reactions. Yeah.
Still going with the
I think
fuck.
I stopped texting you after, I forget what happened. Something happened. I texted you about it.
The other what the fuck moment.
Which was what? I forget.
How do you say his name?
Saying
that he said the F word.
He said the F word.
The wrong
That's not
F
the
word.
one that we drop constantly. Not the one that we use
it was the
very freely.
The no F.
The bad one. The one
very
that
bad one.
I think is really bad these days. I know a lot of people grew up using it with their friends. A lot of people use it and they don't mean to be homophobic when they're saying it. They're just saying it because it's like when someone says, oh, that's so gay. But they're not like, oh, that's gay because gay people are stupid. They're just saying it.
It's actually a word in the dictionary.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
gay,
well, yeah.
Gay to be happy.
Gay is happy.
Yeah.
But they're not using it in that way. They're saying, it's stupid.
I actually wonder if that.
I think, who was it?
No, it's legit in the dictionary.
I think it was my doppelganger who's the first person who said, saying it that way is actually really, just really rude towards gay people. Wanda Sykes. She said that.
Not your doppelganger.
Shit,
but I know people say that, but I do not.
I think I look more like Jaden Smith, but tomato. Wanda Sykes was the first person I remember growing up saying that, and then it made me think twice about how I used it because it was just a thing that you would say, not think about it. You're just like, oh, it's stupid, oh, it's that. So nowadays, especially in a public setting, on TV, on ESPN.
It wasn't even pay-per-view.
It wasn't pay-per-view.
Like you have like the pay-per-view bubble where you can like get away with things that like it doesn't count. It's like the in-between world. You can get away with a lot on pay-per-view because it's pay-per-view.
Yeah, it's R-rated.
Yeah.
It's the R-rated show. It's not the PG-13 show.
Yeah, but ESPN Plus...
gotta be careful, bro. And I think he felt that because I heard like Dana White commented on it, and the guy wasn't invited to the press conference afterwards. Like, he won the fight, but he didn't talk to anyone. So I'm like, ooh, yeah, ooh, that's a good sign. And he apologized right after on social media.
I wondered because it was just like so well written. I was like, I wonder if it was the UFC's PR team or if it was his management, because it was just very, very,
very eloquent compared to his post-fight speech.
like the same person did not write this.
Oh, what is this? It's like when our girl Champy got all rowdy. She was like,
gosh.
"Fuck you, bitch! You a dirty little bitch!" And we're like,
who is doing that? Because we know it's not you.
No, you're the person who pulls the love hearts out of your pocket.
Even the translator wouldn't translate it that way. Who is writing this for you? I would like to talk to them because they're not being your friend right now.
I would too. I think that person was being very, what do you call it? Just bad.
Naughty.
They were being bad with her social media and her trust. But yeah, I texted you after that moment. And then I just kind of got wrapped up in the pay-per-view. But man.
And not only once, but we had two.
We had two.
We had two F-bombs.
I actually think that, how do you say his name? Manel Cop, like a copper. I think that he saved Rakic, however you say his name. Radke. I think he saved him by doing it as well, because you can cut one guy that people don't really know, but you can't cut two guys and one of them's ranked without, like, you know, give him a warning shot. I think now we're going to have those moments in the post or in the pre-fight meeting. Like, you know how when Ali Aquina went and cussed out all the fans, and now they have
the Ali
Aquina rule.
In my book, he can say whatever
he can say whatever he
fine.
Wants. He can.
It's because the accent and the personality, like everything about him, I'm like, it's fine.
You want to say fuck me? You want to boo me? You want to fucking boo me? Yeah. That was a great moment. These moments were not as fun.
No, they were not. There was just a different energy to them.
I mean, it felt hateful, you know?
Exactly.
It felt really weird, strangely hateful, and then directed toward the crowd. Maybe they didn't want to be directing to, but Manel Cobb kind of sounded like he was saying your teammates are gay. So
yeah, but so we're in Australia, right? Like, they could have just used the word cunt, and we would have all, you know, had a knee slap about it. It would have been completely appropriate.
Like, those British and what do you call them? The Queensland, whatever territories. All those territories with the accents. They're so cute with their colloquialisms.
Yes. It would have been fine.
It would have been fine, but no, they wanted
to use the F word.
They wanted to burn some bridges. So I think Cop actually saved that guy from getting serious repercussions. I think they might just be told off and strongly advised to never do it again. And I think that we're probably going to be told in our pre-fight meeting when Dana's like, just get out there. You guys are fucking badasses. You can get 50K bonuses all around. He'll also say, don't cuss like Ali Aquina and don't use the F word like these two guys because you'll get cut afterwards. Also, don't push people like Jeremy Stevens or you will get cut. There's always like somebody fucks up and then they say specifically, do not do this. It would be really fun if there was a sign of all the things that
just with their name on it. This.
The owl rule, the cop rule, the Stevens rule, you know, and the list goes on. There's so many rules that can be written about the bad behavior that UFC fighters have gotten away with. But yeah, that was insane.
That was terrible. Just 2 in one fucking night.
It was a lot.
Come on,
guys. It was a lot.
It
And
was a lot.
you know, we're in the gym a lot. We hear the locker room banter or whatever. We're not soft But when you're representing a company in a professional setting, you have to mind your P's and Q's and F's.
Yes. Well said.
You do.
Well said. Yeah.
Anyway, the main event. Let's talk about that because, dude, I am so. And it's like hindsight is 2020, right? Every time I talked about the what if, like what if Strickland were to have success in the fight, it would be because he seems to have this deceptive power, deceptive length in his jab, and it just throws people off their game.
It's like the same kind of thing that Juliana Pena does to her opponents. You know, it's like that.
Since tough,
yeah. Mm-hmm. Like they just have that thing, that tenacity, that pressure.
Yeah.
That they both have it in slightly similar, slightly different ways, but they both got that thing.
And it's there's some unorthodoxness about the way he comes forward too, the way he blocks punches, he like frames out of things really weird and shoulder rolls and does all the stuff that on tape it looks like you can work around it. Like it looks like you can throw like a kick to get over the shoulder and hit him in the head, or it looks like you can punch through his guard, especially if you're super straight. But everything that Adesanya was trying to do just slipped off of him. It was like buttered up. Everything was hard. It was hard to find that mark on him.
It was, and the way he was timing, like Adesanya is really great at fighting backwards and cutting angles. You know, he throws like a really nice check hook. He also throws like a lean back hook, which isn't really like, he's not really stepping outside like you do a check hook, but he does these things that are very evasive. And every time he did those, like Strickland had his number. It was very impressive. He just really stuck to the game plan. He stuck to what he's good at, and he was unrelenting. Yeah. And he made it very challenging for Adesanya to, get any offense off. There were moments where I saw Adesanya, I was like, oh, he's like, he's like power saved up. He's about to, like hit a crazy combination, and then they just stopped. Like there was just, he was unable to build any momentum the whole fight. It was very impressive. And like I was saying, after the second round, I was rooting for Strickland. Like I couldn't help myself. It is that underdog factor, that story. Yeah.
I think we're both at the age where we can not necessarily like someone, but still
appreciate, respect,
feel good for them, feel bad for them. There's a lot of people who I'm just like, when Colby Covington lost, I kind of felt really bad for him. I was hoping he'd lose because I was rooting for Usman, but like when it happened, he just looked so defeated, and you could tell that he put a ton of work into that camp. He's a great fighter, and for whatever, my maturity didn't let me go post memes about him getting hit. It's human to not necessarily like the things that someone says or the antics or whatever, but still just be really impressed and start rooting for the guy you didn't expect to root for. And I think a lot of it was just the fact that he was doing so well and no one expected him to.
I didn't expect him to.
I don't know. I feel like the only person who was written off more was Juliana Pena in recent history. But it's crazy that he was able to do what he did. It seemed like it was gonna wound up to be like a classic night for Adesanya, because usually he's able to move and get out of the way of someone who pressures forward like that and make him walk into stuff. But every time he tried to set those traps, like you said, Strickland was just able to beat him to the punch, like literally beat him to the punch, hit him when he was trying to set up his counter and drop him. And I think that first moment just scared the shit. Like it just froze him up. He never really committed in the same way after that first drop. And kudos to Mark Goddard for letting it go on, because there was all that controversy with the first Pereira fight where he was like, I was playing possum. You didn't I wasn't really that hurt. A lot of times you don't remember getting hurt, but you wake up and you're like, I'm fine. I was about to punch it back. But this time, no questions are left. He definitely got hurt in that first round. He was able to come back, but that was the only moment he was able to come back in that fight. And Strickland just stuck to the game plan, and now he's the middleweight champion. What the fuck?
Wow.
The guy who was yelling and screaming during sparring, going, "No, we're not tired. You're not tired. She's not tired." I'm like, fuck you. I'm tired. Like, what are you talking? Can you go downstairs? Like,
who invited you?
Why are you here? You're not even our teammate. Nobody said you could come to practice. Strickland, guys, if you train, be careful about talking shit about Strickland, because he might just show up to your gym just for fun.
Yeah.
He probably won't know you were talking shit about him, but he'll probably show up at some point. He's been just about everywhere in Southern California.
I think he's been
Vegas.
at every single gym that I've been at.
Yeah. He's been there at some point.
Everywhere.
Yeah. That time we went to Ruka, he was there, just hanging out, giving fucking Baby Shark advice against me. I'm like, shut the fuck up. Why are you always around? Don't give her advice. This guy. And now he's a fucking champ. Shit.
Oh my goodness.
So, Sean, if you have any advice for me, let me know. All right. Now that you're champ,
share the love.
Now that you're champ, I'll listen to what you have to say. So there you go. Man, so did you have any time to think about any other fights on this card?
You know what? The one that I was anticipating, because it was so hyped up, and because there was all these antics at the press conference, pre-fight press conference, was homeboy that dropped the F-bomb.
Oh, Manel Cop.
Yeah. Cop. So he was supposed to fight Kai Kara-France.
Or is it France?
Kai Kara-France.
I think it's France. Yeah.
Kai Kara.
Kai. Little Kai.
Kara-France. Yeah, that sounds better.
KK.
So there are all these antics, and like he's Cop is a really, really impressive fighter, and he was fighting somebody that, showed up on short notice. I was actually really impressed.
Me too.
Who
is this kid?
I love him.
Yo, he's so cute.
I was rooting for him. I was like,
little baby Oliveira.
I know. It was.
I'm gonna grab his name right
De
now.
La Cruz.
Yeah, sounds about right. But let me grab it.
I don't.
I will look. Just keep talking him up, because he was
he was
great.
I mean, he was kind of a loose cannon. He gave no fucks.
Felipe Dos Santos. You were very close.
I was way off. Thank you though. It sounded like it was. I knew what. No, I wasn't even close.
Same amount of syllables, almost.
Totally. The blonde, skinny kid. He was so impressive.
He was.
I mean, he threw caution to the wind, which was terrifying and exciting all at the same time. I was like, thank God I don't know this guy, because I would be freaking out more than I am right now.
Yeah.
But he just brought it to the guy. And I mean, and Cop is, no slouch. He's a very savvy striker, and, a previous champion. And what, his short notice opponent was able to do was really impressive, and I am absolutely a fan of his. I want to see him fight moving forward. I just love it.
Me too. He was just able to throw everything in the kitchen sink.
Those
he threw
knees. I'm like,
stuff,
that's what it's supposed to look like.
Yeah.
Those walking forward knees that Adam always tries to get me to throw. I was like,
that one.
I'm gonna do that next time.
I just needed someone to do it against someone really good, so I could know that it works.
Got it.
Yeah. No, he was insane. That fight was really good. It ended up getting fight of the night.
Yes,
I think
as it should.
Yeah. And it's always special when the little guys show out too, because they don't always get that love. Like when it's an exciting fight, a lot of times just because there isn't as much damage being done because they're so small, then they don't get the same love. But they were dropping each other left and right. Like it was so back and forth. Dos Santos, he was in the fight the whole time. It was really a cool one to watch. And maybe Cop wouldn't have dropped the F-bomb if he didn't show, if Felipe didn't show up like that, you know, like maybe he'd be like,
brought it out of him.
Maybe he was so impressed. He was like, he made y'all look like bitches, you know, like, man, I really wish he didn't say that though. Oh, one thing I wanted to talk about.
Tell me.
The way DC yanked him off stage.
So good.
You would have thought that that was his little kid.
You know that the control room was screaming in his ear.
He yanked him off because he had the mic. He says it. DC takes the mic and takes him by the hand. He doesn't just take the mic. He takes him by the hand, and he's so tiny. The comment's so tiny. And DC's so big, it looks like he's yanking his kid like he got in trouble at school or something.
Like he's yanking him through the mall for doing something stupid, for not being quiet and keeping his voice down.
Yes, that cracked me up. That's probably going to be one of my favorite DC moments of all time.
I hope they turn it into a GIF. A GIF. How do they say them?
Yeah, GIF.
GIF.
I'm better at pronouncing that than fighter names. Yeah, I hope so. It was such a good moment. I might have to do that just so I can use it in text messages and stuff. Anytime someone gets rowdy, gets a little crazy, I'm like, you know what? You're going home, and just post that GIF. We're going home. You're done. You're drunk.
No more. Oh my God. I didn't forget, but I didn't bring it up right away. Laura Senko.
Yes.
First female commentator.
You better work.
Girl, on a pay-per-view, and she freaking showed up.
She killed it.
I want to listen to her every fight.
Yeah.
I'm like, everybody else is fired. I only want Senko.
Yes, only Senko. You know, it's nice to have that feminine energy in there, but also you know that she really did her research.
That's what I love about her, because I'm sorry, the other guys, like, they don't do research like that. They don't. They say the same thing, and I'm not going to say names, but a lot of these guys say the same things over and over and over again. But this chick does her research, and it is so refreshing and so appreciated. Yeah. Like, I love it. She comes so prepared.
Yeah, she does. And you know, half of that is the double standard, because a woman walks into a boy's playhouse and automatically you're going to think that she doesn't know what she's talking about, or she's there because she's hot, or she's there because she has big tits. And hey, you can have all of that.
I mean, which she does.
Yeah, she does. She's gorgeous.
I'm not even into blondes, but I have a crush on Laura Senko.
No, she is doing the damn thing. If anything, a smart blonde. Dude, if she had some glasses.
And she's fun.
Yes. She has like the librarian takes her hair down kind of look. Like, she already took her hair down, but she's saying smart shit. So you forget that she's blonde. You just see her and her presence and how educated and eloquent she is. And it really is refreshing. It's nice to see that she's raising that ceiling. She's allowing other people to have a chance, like maybe us in the future, all the other women who led the way to, you have Karen Bryant, Megan O'Leary, and now Laura Senko. They're all just pushing those boundaries more and more. So it's really awesome to see. And, you know, we need it because we have fighters dropping F-bombs. We need a little class in there.
A little class. Did you hear her vocabulary? I was like, what does it mean?
She dropped a word in one of her breakdowns of Izzy versus Strickland. She dropped a word, and I can't remember it, but it was like it's not exonerated, but it was like exastronomicalated. It had a lot of syllables in it. And I was like, I need to look that shit up.
Yeah, I had to Google a few words.
Yeah.
Also, her comparison to Adesanya being a like jazz, and then
Strickland, that's the one I'm talking about.
Yeah, like what did
do you remember the word that she used?
No, but I was just.
I don't know that word.
Like, yes, that is exactly what it is. Oh my God, this is amazing.
No, yeah, I really love like her. That.
I am so excited for her. I am so excited for like what she's doing for women in the sport, what she's doing for the sport. It's really exciting.
And it was nice to see her have her little moment, because I was creeping on one of the posts where she was saying that Strickland would be a more competitive fight than people are giving him credit for. And I was creeping on the comments and they're like, what is this girl talking about? Okay, sister, sit down. And for her to say that and then for that to happen, I'm like, I almost want to go back to the comments, but I'm not. I'm bigger than that.
No, you're not. Do it.
Okay.
Do it. Screenshot it.
I'm gonna just go and like all of them. Like
frog.
Oh man. But yeah, good job, Laura. Way to just lift up women in MMA everywhere. And that's a big deal. Like it's a really big deal. I can't wait to see her commentate another pay-per-view.
I know. That's so exciting. Cinco for president.
Yes. What else happened? The Ezekiel choke was pretty crazy.
We see people go for the Ezekiel choke, but we don't actually see them pull it off in an MMA fight.
Yeah.
But there are, like, I've seen it a bunch of times. I'm like, it's a hard one. It's a hard leverage point. If anyone was going to do it, it would be big ass heavyweight.
Yeah. What is that guy's name? That big old Russian dude who always hits him. Alexei Olenek. Yeah. Olenek. Adam gave me the last name. I had the first name. He always hits the Ezekiel choke from bottom. So when we were watching it, and I was rooting for Tai Tuivasa, and I saw Volk passing to Mount, I'm like, Ezekiel choke, like, yeah, you could do it. You're a heavyweight too. And then fucking Volkov hit it, and I was like,
Damn it.
I wasn't talking to you. Why? Why did you do that? But that was a really cool fight. It obviously got overshadowed by the main event, but that was pretty nuts.
It was a great co-main event.
Yeah.
I too was rooting for Tai Tuivasa. I'm a big fan of his.
Yeah.
I mean, hats off to Volkov, but yeah, I was rooting for the other one.
Me.
As it happens sometimes.
Hey, well, the other guys with the leggings tattoos won. All the guys who have the tattoos, it looks like they're wearing high-waisted jeans.
I'm so distracted by the belly button.
Yes.
That's where my eyes go. I just stare at belly button the whole fight.
Well, it's because it's not symmetrical, too.
Yeah.
It's just like one there and then one there. I wonder, I should probably do some research on what it means, but I feel like it has some significance. Like the UFC belts has how each rhinestone is like. It means something.
Each prong of it.
Yeah, each little notch.
I don't know if it's lettering or symbols or what exactly it is.
Maybe it's the time they were born.
It's funny that it's so distracting to me because like so many of the UFC fighters have that.
Yeah.
And I've never actually Googled what it is, but it's always very distracting to me.
Well, I just know it's a Maori thing, right?
Sure.
It's a cultural thing, cultural tattoos. I'm guessing it has something to do with warriors or something like that.
Just keep going.
And we're back.
Okay, what were you talking about? I wasn't really listening.
Tattoos. They're cool. They're cool. And they look like leggings. They look like high-waisted, your high-waisted Lululemons. Lululemon capris.
I'm not a big fan of capris, but on them it looks pretty good.
It looks good on them.
It looks good on them.
Yeah, and it tapers the waist, which some of them need.
They do. No body shame, but
Not need, but it makes you look a little scarier. Tafa just fucking nailed that guy. It was so nasty to see, and the way that he jumped on top and got those big nasty blows. It was. I think I prefer the walk off. That made me shudder. It was so scary.
Violent.
I'm like, if I was that man's loved one, I'd be climbing the cage right there. Get him off of him. Stop. That was so violent and nasty. Oh, and another violent moment,
Oh, yeah, I know who you're talking
The
about.
one who looks like a male model.
Yeah, that one.
He looks like, he could be an Abercrombie and Fitch guy standing in front of the store.
I mean, he's a little bit more like up there than Abercrombie. I mean, I would give him, you know,
That's more of like
Boss,
a Tyler.
like Hugo Boss.
Ooh, yeah. I can see that. Or some fancy sunglasses. Oh, I guess Hugo Boss does sunglasses, right? We're on the same page.
Yeah.
He had a nasty submission finish, and the referee did not see the tap. Did you see that?
Yeah, and so it was like 10 seconds of, of added brain damage.
God,
because
damn.
The ref was on the wrong side.
Yeah, it was so scary, and like, I mean, it's not totally the ref's fault. Like, when you're fighting, you kind of have to just do whatever you can to tap. Like if you're tapping and they're still squeezing, you got to tap something else. You got to wiggle. You have to kick your legs or something.
Scream.
Yeah, I remember we used to think not funny, but it was a thing that Alex Chambers would, when she got tapped, she would kick her legs. Do you remember that?
I remember that.
It was like a thing. Like every time she got tapped, she would. I feel like she would just hold off until the very last second, and then she'd go, "Oh shit, I'm getting tapped," and then just kick her legs. And you got to do something like that so the referee knows, like, oh, you're in trouble. But unfortunately, that guy started tapping. He held out, tapped, and then went out unconscious. Yeah. And it took a while for him to wake back up. I was a little worried about that.
It was a long. I mean, it in second wise, it's not that long, but when you're, you know, lacking oxygen to your brain, it is a long time, and it is a little bit scary. It's you know, we get hard on the refs and we get hard on people about these situations, but it is hard, and there's a lot of room for human error. So it's I'm glad he's okay, but it is a hard thing, and you can't, you know, see every single angle. And it was also, you're pressed up against the cage. There was just a lot of stuff going on, but that was.
And the ref is looking at the clock. They're looking at the fighter. I was staring at the hands because I'm like, that's deep. I'm like, I don't know how he's holding out right now. Yeah, it was pretty crazy.
His chin must be tucked, but then he was face down, so you really couldn't see anything except for the guy on his back. It was it was quite a challenging situation. I'm glad he's okay though. That's always dangerous.
Do you remember one of our favorite refs, Kim Winslow?
Oh, fucking Kim Winslow. Get me started.
Hey. Isn't that what she do? She go, or this?
I was like, is it on my nose?
No. That's the Kim Winslow thing.
She would do that.
She would do, and I'm like, what does that mean?
It's like the Santa Claus. Like he would and go up the chimney.
Is that what that's about?
In a movie. I don't know what the fuck that is. But yeah, she would do stupid stuff. I have a horror story about her that I just, when I was cornering some amateur fighters.
Do tell.
And
because I remember the famous Kim Couture one.
It was a similar kind, I mean, not as bad, but almost as bad. Like it was just.
Tell me more.
Oh, let me do that.
Like I need to be hydrated for this memory.
Oh my God. So it's, it was an amateur organization, and I was cornering Jillian Leibarger. Or Jocelyn, or was it Jocelyn? It was one of the twins. One of the twins. It was very early in their career, and they were fighting this smaller, girl. But at an amateur level, it's really hard to gauge like the level of people. You just have to go off of their experience, and it was an evenly matched fight. And good old Kim, she let this fight. It could have been stopped in the first fucking round. Like it could have been TKO first round, and every round after that it was the same. And it's not, one of the Leibergers, the girls that I was cornering, they were beating the crap out of this girl. I'm like, please stop it. Yeah. And the corner wouldn't throw it in, and it was just
so frustrating.
She wasn't like bloody and like battered looking. It wasn't anything like that, but just the amount of damage and the amount of punches the girl took. She was a little bit smaller, a little bit we saw her experience as the fight went on.
Right.
And the fight could have been stopped at so many different moments, and it wasn't. And I just felt like Kim had this, like, was carrying this torch for women's MMA, and it was reckless.
Yeah.
And it was not what we needed. It was not safe for the fighters. It was not, you know, what she was trying to do. Maybe she was trying to take a stand for female fighters and give them an opportunity, because, you know, we remember the days back when, you know, Jan Finney and Julie Kedzie and Gina Carano, when these girls are fighting and they're on this like big stage of Strikeforce, and they stop the fight early because somebody's bleeding.
Yeah.
I think
it still
Julie
happens.
Kedzie. Well, yeah, but it's like, it was
not
the
as
first
much,
time,
but yeah.
It was the first time that like women's MMA was like on a big platform on TV, and they stopped it because of a cut. And so I felt like Kim just was trying to like carry that torch and be like, no, women are tough. They can, you know, they can take it, they can give it, they can do this, they can do that. But the way she went about it was completely reckless and irresponsible.
It was uneducated.
It was not okay. And I just like, I'm watching, you know, my fighter beat the crap out of this girl, and I'm happy for my fighter that they are winning, but I am terrified and wanting it to stop for the other girl, for her own safety, and it was not stopped. Just 3 rounds of just getting the crap beat out of her.
Yeah.
And I was not okay with it. And from that like moment forward, I was like, this woman will never ref me. I will step in and say, I do not want her reffing my fighters, because it's just, she's reckless.
Yeah. I think I had her once, and I already had that opinion of her going into the fight. So it actually made me stop beating a girl up a little earlier than I should have, because I was like, you see, she's down, right? Like, I think I actually got criticized a little bit for it, but it was an Invicta fight, and I think it was Stephanie Eggink, and I had hit her real hard, and I felt like I saw her eyes like go rolly, and I hit her real hard. She sat on the ground. I punched her twice, and she wasn't moving. So I looked at the ref. I'm like, you see this, right? And she didn't do anything. So I punched her 2 more times, and then she jumped in and stopped it. And people were like, I hate when people look at the ref like trying to beg them to stop the fight. But it had nothing to do with that. It had everything to do with just me knowing in the past that she's let fights go, female fights especially, she's let them go on for so long, past the point where the person is fighting back or has any chance of coming back and getting back to consciousness. So the one that I saw that was really bad was the Kim Couture one, where she was, I forget what she was in. Was it a triangle? She was in some kind of blood choke, and she was out for so long, to the point where she started doing the trembles, and that just makes my blood curdle. Like, it's such a scary thing to see happen. Recently, we had that other guy who ended up, he was reffing on a regional scene, and then the next day he reffed in the UFC, but he ended up getting this guy's arm just ripped apart because he saw him go unconscious in a triangle. The guy transitioned to an arm bar. The guy woke up getting arm barred, was so loopy he couldn't tap, and the arm just got ripped back and forth a million different. Did you see that one?
No.
It's disgusting. But that actually happened recently, and I'm just reminiscing of how crazy things can go in the cage. I think the ref did a good job last night with Carlos Olberg. It's just, this shit happens sometimes, but sometimes it's the ref's fault. And it just reminded me of Kim Winslow and all her fun little things that she did in there.
No, I'm glad she's gone.
Yes, it was very dangerous. It's not really funny. No. We can laugh at it now that she's gone, but it's not really funny at all.
No.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, but UFC 293 was I don't know, it kind of surprised me, the amount of drama and excitement that came with the card. Like with the press conferences, with all the little back and forth, like the dog video that surfaced for Izzy, like little dumb stuff. Cop throwing the bottle at Kaikar France, and now the F-bombs. Like it really ended up being an insane night of fights, and everyone was calling it lame. Everyone was saying that it it didn't have the name value, but it ended up delivering still.
Lots of shenanigans.
So many shenanigans.
Lots of things. I feel like
I'm exhausted from the shenanigans, to be honest.
No, there was a lot going on. There was a lot that happened. There's a lot going on. There was also bare knuckle MMA.
Yes.
Happened for the first time in Gamebred FC.
Yeah. Did you watch it?
I watched the highlights.
Okay.
I can only do one pay-per-view.
I can only do one, but it was a free card.
Yeah.
So that was cool. Kudos to Gamebred trying to get those viewers up and everything. And there were a couple people I cared about. Anthony Nchikani, who's Chitty's older brother.
Nchikawani.
Inujikawani. Yeah, look at you. Getting the names right.
First time ever. You know what? It was bound to happen. It's a numbers game with me.
All right, so Anthony Inujikawani, he put on a masterful performance against a pretty game guy. It was really cool to watch. Lots of good Muay Thai stuff. You would see your knees that you were talking about. Lots of demonstrations on what Adam was asking you to do. Knees and elbows. The guy he was fighting actually threw a really nasty spinning elbow too, but it was really cool to watch. And surprisingly similar to MMA, I didn't really notice that they didn't have gloves on, but I think because there were so many knees and kicks and elbows that you forgot that they weren't throwing as many punches as they usually were.
I ran into that too. I was like, oh, actually, I feel like bare knuckle MMA makes more sense to me.
It makes so much more sense.
Bare knuckle boxing.
Yeah.
I was like, I could get with that a little bit more.
Yeah. You've seen Beck's hands after her bare knuckle boxing fights. Like,
they're horrific. They just look like they hurt so much.
And she has these cute little baby hands.
She has tiny hands. So she was doing like fight poses, or like she was doing something, and then I was like, oh, give me your jewelry. Her like ring finger like fits on it doesn't pass the knuckle of my fucking pinky. I'm like, how?
She has the daintiest little hands.
I'm like, she's a lot bigger than me. I remember. I was like, and I mean, she's like, the last time we're referring to the time I went to Denver and I was in Beck Rollins' corner. And so she's like close to fight weight. And I remember, I've been lifting and stuff like that. I was like, oh, I got bigger. And then I was like, oh, wait, she's on weight. Never mind.
You're not that big.
No, I'm not that big.
You're still,
like, damn.
You're still 125-ish.
Damn, I was like, oh yeah, actually we are the same weight right now. That makes sense. Okay, cool.
Yeah. But she has the tiniest hands and
so
feet.
tiny.
Like they look like they were bound when she was a child.
So
They're so little, like little Dobby hands. So it always cracks me up when she hurts people with her boxing, because I'm like, hands are so small. They must feel really, really dumb getting hit by this tiny little fist. But when she does her bare knuckle, they swell up and they look like little Mickey Mouse gloves.
They look like water balloons.
Yeah.
Mickey Mouse gloves. They like
it's little mallets. It's crazy.
It's like baked bread.
Yeah. So it makes me feel better watching bare knuckle because they have so many other tools to use.
Yeah, it just for whatever reason my brain has less hard of a time like grasping it and like understanding it and being okay with it for whatever reason. I'm just like, oh God, bare knuckle boxing, it's so brutal.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, how could you do that? But I'm like, oh yeah, it makes a little bit more sense to me.
Less pro clutching with the bare knuckle MMA. I did clutch my pearls watching Junior Dos Santos split open Verdum's eye, though.
That was rough. Man, I was thinking about that matchup, and I'm just like, that is not the one that I want to do bare knuckle boxing against freaking Singana. I was like, because he's a good boxer.
Yeah.
He's a good boxer. And Verdum, his striking got better when he was working with Rafael Cordero, but like he's still a bottom jiu-jitsu player, an amazing bottom guy, but still, it's just like
start standing. It starts standing, and it's you're gonna have a lot of trouble getting in when the fists are even smaller than they were before. Like there's so many more holes to sneak through when you're bare knuckle MMA, and it's really scary. And when he landed that punch, that big just kind of leaping overhand, right? Oh, it looks so nasty. I can only imagine. It probably felt like getting hit by a bat, like getting hit by a car or something.
Sharp.
Ooh, and such a big boy behind it too. But what really just made me so gleeful was
tell me
was his post-fight speech. He looked so happy. He looks so freaking happy. They were just like, how did you feel? Kayla Harris was doing the mic thing. So another woman doing woman things in the cage. Kayla Harris gave him the mic and was like, how did you feel doing bare knuckle for the first time? He's like, I love it. He was so happy.
He's one of those happy Brazilians, though.
Yes.
There's a bunch of like really big, scary MMA fighters that are like just like perma happy and joyful, and he's one of them.
Yeah,
he's adorable.
Johnny Faria, my coach at Alliance, he definitely one of those happy Brazilians. Wilson Hayes.
Oh yeah.
Put a drink in that boy. He will not stop smiling. He was just doing his dance. Doing his foot sweep dance. So yeah, that was really nice. And I got to commentate this weekend too. Speaking of Wilson Hayes,
I got to watch you commentate. Thank you for wearing that really low backless dress.
Well, I was working on my va-va-voom.
Oh, you voomed and vod.
Yay! Thanks.
Thank you.
Oh man, yeah. It was a really fun night, and there were a lot of crazy fights, and I like doing Cage Warriors because it feels very homey. Just because we've been in San Diego for so long, a lot of the people on the fight card are people that we've either been in the same room with or actually trained with for a long time. So
yeah, it's a small community.
Yeah, small community is really fun. And I get a crash course in trying to be unbiased on commentary.
It's hard.
It's really hard.
And I mean, the longer, sorry to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
In my experience, when I was working with CFFC a lot, I would get to know some of these guys, and there's a lot of like local Philly guys, local New Jersey guys, like local fighters that I would see a lot, and it starts to get challenging. But it is, our job when we're at that desk to be unbiased and neutral. It can be challenging.
Yeah. I mean, the guys at the highest level get criticized for it all the time.
We're human.
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do because there's always conspiracy theories and people saying, oh, you're trying to push this guy or that guy. But a lot of times it's just the person you see all the time. It's the person who you can actually have a conversation with. The person who will go out to lunch with you in between, I don't know, training sessions in Vegas. And it's super hard not to say good things about that guy when you've just had more interactions with them. You know more about them. So you're able to say more good things about them than their opponent who, might be doing good things, but you don't have that non sequitur to say about them because you just never interacted with them. But it was very challenging, but I feel like I did okay, not great. There were a few moments where I was like, that was early. What are you doing? Like not that bad, but I felt like the energy was, man, that's my friend. And I wanted to tone it down. But I feel like I did okay. Like maybe, I don't know, 5 out of 7 on the unbiased scale. Okay. Yeah, I'm working on it.
I couldn't listen to you. I could only see you, and then every once in a while when they would cut to like, you guys like standing doing like the pre kind of like hype moment.
Yeah.
That's the only time I could hear you.
I think I'm not going to get really criticized for it until people go back and look at tape for the next Cage Warriors.
It's fine.
They're like, wait, what'd she say about me?
That's hard too. I've had a couple people not like, I had one person kind of get their feelings hurt, but then I've had some people be like, hey, like, you were right. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't want to be right. I don't want to be right. Like, I don't. I'm just saying what I see.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I've gotten an unfollow because maybe it was like, I don't know. Maybe they took it too harshly. But, like, you've got to, like, report what you see, and sometimes it's not what people want to hear.
No, for sure. It was really hard talking about the main event because I have a very close relationship with Wilson Hayes. He's cornered me a bunch. We've trained together since I got to Alliance. He was the first guy to say, you should come move here and train with the girls. You know, he's so fucking nice.
He's amazing.
He's the only person who was like super, super welcoming when I first walked into the gym. Not the only person, but the first person. And he's just been a friend ever since. But then on the other side, you had this Trevin Jones guy who I feel for because he got into the UFC, had a big knockout, and then lost his next 4 fights against really good people, and now he's out again. So it's like, okay, in a way, I was also rooting for him because it's like he kind of has more upside. Wilson's almost 40, so am I, but he's still working to either get the belt in Cage Warriors or get back into the UFC. But it's probably more likely that someone like Trevin Jones, who's a little younger, he's like 30 something, early 30s, who already has a knockout against someone who's been just doing amazing in the UFC right now. Like it's probably more likely that he gets back in the UFC. So in a close fight like that, you're like I can't really be mad either way. Well, I still feel like Wilson should have won.
I was mad, and I may or may not have voiced my opinion to the judges as they walked by me as I was leaving.
Oh, what'd you say? The fuck were you looking at?
I saw somebody.
Chris Levin was the judge that scored it for Wilson.
Yes.
And
he's fine.
You're not on the hit list.
He's fine. He like knew I wasn't talking to him too. He just kind of like, he was like.
That's why he scored it for Wilson. He was like, oh shit.
No, it was after the fight, and we were all walking down, and I was like, because I can't hear like all of it.
Okay.
You know, I can't hear who the judges are, like from where is that? Like I can't hear anything. And so I see this I was talking to somebody, and we're walking down these stairs, and I see this guy Rafael, who's one of the refs, and I used to train with him at Rain up in Orange County. He was like, "Oh, hey, it's you." I was like, "Did you?" I was like, "Who judged that fight?" And he was like, and then I see all the judges. I was like, "Did you judge that fight? Who scored it that way?" And they just all kind of went.
That's what they do. They're such little pussies.
I was like, Felicia, oh, look me in my eye. I know it was you. She just kept walking.
So you know what she looks like?
Oh, I know. No, and I'm not a fan. So she was actually.
I saw she was in a few split decision differentials.
I have not agreed with her scoring. In any time I paid attention, I have not agreed with it at all.
She is the Kim Winslow of.
I knew she did it.
Judges for women.
I knew she did it.
Damn it, Felicia. Bye. We need to say bye to Felicia. Bye, Felicia. The thing that I was thinking, I was like, man, where is Felicia when I have these close split decisions and I fuck the girl's face up? Like, where is Felicia then? It's like obvious that I did more damage, and you got these people scoring on the person wanting it more or looking less tired. I'm like, fuck you guys. So the thing that I hate is just not knowing which way the judges are going to swing. And I felt like they were going to swing Wilson's way, especially because he finished the round strong after he got hurt. But it is what it is.
That one moment in the third round where he caught a knee, it doesn't outweigh the whole body of work that Wilson did in the round, which was he did a really good job.
Yeah, he was dragging the guy to the ground. He was pushing the pace.
More control position.
He landed his own punches against the fence on the way in. Like, he was doing work.
Yeah, that was a frustrating one.
Yeah.
And it's like watching without like, with any kind of emotion, to fighters, I can be a little bit more neutral. But that one, I was like, am I not being neutral? But I was like, no, I feel like I went back and was like, no. Like, I'm not being biased. Like, that was a bad decision.
It was. Okay, good. I'm glad. I feel super biased by saying it, but
no, that's fair.
Even though you're also Wilson's friend, but but it doesn't matter. We're right.
He may have cornered me.
Yeah.
He may have been my training partner and teammate for a while.
It doesn't matter. We're still right.
We're right.
Should we talk about UFC Paris and after the break? Just for a second?
Maybe. I mean, you'll have to tune in to see what we talk about.
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about anything. We could talk about Jess's new boot.
We haven't talked about that yet. We could preview some exciting upcoming fights.
Oh, and we can do a fight camp update. See how miserable I am right now. Let's do it. All right. If you're not subscribed, you are you know what.